Hello everyone, and I'm Autobot Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing lasering Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So, it's been quite a while since the last time I made a video. It's been a few weeks since I've made one, and that's just, I've been so busy with other stuff in my life, and I've got a lot more videos that I'm happy I'm going to be able to be doing in the near future. First off, though, we're going to be talking, of course, about what this video is, and that is more info on Transformers EarthSpark. That is the brand new Transformers cartoon from Nickelodeon and Paramount that will be premiering exclusively on Paramount Plus later this fall. But now we actually have a release date for it as of yesterday, and that is going to be on November 16th. So November 16th on Paramount Plus, we will be getting the first 10 episodes of Transformers EarthSpark. That will be available first, all the binge through, and then we'll have to wait for the last 16 episodes to come out. I don't know if they're going to be doing one episode every week going forward then, or they're just going to take a break for a while and then drop the next 10 and then maybe do the last 6 another time. Who knows, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's just so much. We've got a trailer that focuses on the alt modes of several characters, while also introducing a few new ones in the process. We have the official EarthSpark website up that gives us more story details and character bios for already existing characters, and tons of other stuff. So be sure to leave a comment, of course, subscribe if you're excited to read it all. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting with the website for Transformers EarthSpark. Also, by the way, I'm going to be leaving little timestamps in the video's description, so you can go ahead and jump into whatever video. We're going to be talking about the bios first and just a summary of the story through, and then we'll be jumping into talking about the most recent trailer that just came out earlier yesterday and talk about how, all the new characters we got from that. So if you want to jump into a specific part of this trailer, feel free to go ahead and just jump to the description and check out the timestamps there below. So if we take our first look here at the Transformers EarthSpark website, it's pretty bare bones, and it's just a little snippet on the much bigger Nickelodeon official website. But we do get some interesting stuff here, specifically right here on the summary for Transformers EarthSpark as a show as a whole, because it gives us good ideas as to what exactly the show's premise is going to be about that I've been wondering for a very long time, so I will go ahead and read that now. The Transformers War on Earth concluded years ago. Dot Malto, a veteran of the war, along with her husband, Professor Alex Malto, and their kids, Robbie and Mo, moved to the remote town of Witwicky, Pennsylvania to start a new life. But Witwicky proves to be more than meets the eye, and the family soon finds their lives intertwined with a group of Terran Transformers, the first ever Earthborn Transformers. When evil half-human, half-robot cyborg Dr. Meriden, aka Mandroid, threatens life as they know it, Robbie, Mo, and the Terrans must band together with legendary Autobots like Optimus Prime and Bumblebee to stop Mandroid once and for all. So this pretty much confirms an idea that I had since the very first trailer for EarthSpark came out, that essentially EarthSpark takes place in a post-Great War world, and that's pretty much what it is. That Dot, who is Robbie and Mo's mother, was a soldier in the human army against the Decepticons, and apparently the war's been over for, well, we don't know if the Decepticons are in a ceasefire with the Autobots or if they're just coming to a truce, but because it seems as though the Decepticons are still posing a threat in this show, despite the fact that Mandroid is the main antagonist. But it's going to be interesting to see how exactly the war, how long has it been since this war's been going on, because we saw back in the first trailer that Transformers have existed long enough for comics to be made about them. So how far ahead does this go? We'll have to wait and see. But let's go ahead now and jump into the actual character bios first for some of these characters. Now, some of them are pretty much repeats of the ones I talked about earlier in the Den of Geek article that announced EarthSpark back in I believe it was July during the San Diego Comic-Con panel, but some of these do contain some new information that we'll go ahead and go over as well. Starting this video, we're going to be talking about the backstories for our two main human characters, Robbie and Mo Malto. So, while we did learn pretty much their essential normal backstories with the Den of Geek article a few months ago, this gives a much more official description of what we can expect from their characters going forward. So here's Robbie's bio from the official EarthSpark website. Robbie Malto is a 13-year-old boy who begins our story in a grouchy headspace, frustrated by his family's recent move from his hometown of Philadelphia to remote sleepy town of Witwicky. While he's proud of his African-American, Filipino-American heritage, he's not thrilled with his parents. When he and his younger sister Mo witness the birth of new Terran Transformers and decide to bring them home, the excitement snaps Robbie out of his funk. It's one thing to read about Transformers bots in his dad's history books, but it's another to meet one in real life. Robbie's a smart kid with an abundance of moxie, so he tends to rush into things, and his charisma inspires others to follow with mixed results. Robbie's intentions are always good, even when nudging others beyond their comfort zone. So this is actually pretty interesting that Robbie shows a lot more maturity for his age compared to like how we saw him act kind of like more bratty in the 6-minute preview episode 1 that we saw back in July. Though I guess you can chalk that up to, again, just the fact that Robbie was just sort of like still frustrated with just moving with his parents and all that, so we can just chalk up to that. Maybe normally he's a lot more level-headed, but it does pose like an interesting story for what's gonna happen with Robbie in the future. After that, though, we'll move on to his younger sister Mo, aka Morgan Malto. Let's go ahead and read that. Mo, or Morgan Malto, is Robbie's 9-year-old younger sister. Though she's emotionally mature for her age, she's able to look at everything with a wide-eyed sense of optimism and hope. Mo's infinite well of positivity is a gift and a curse because she always wants everyone to get along. She feels responsible for managing the family's happy coexistence. Mo takes great pride in her self-appointed role as icebreaker / friendship enforcer / harmonizer. She may be smaller than her new robot siblings, but Mo feels like their big sister. For her, family comes first no matter who you are or where you're from. Now, again, this basically just ties in a lot to how I imagined her from the Den of Geek article we saw back in July, as well as like the little bit we had of her back in San Diego Comic-Con. That I feel like Mo really is just going to be the moral compass of Transformers EarthSpark, and really excited by her character. Honestly, I think I'll be liking her a lot more than Robbie, just because I don't know, I feel like Robbie's going to do a lot of stupid stuff, but Mo just seems like such a fun character to be around. I'm eager to see what she's going to bring to the table. Now that we covered the Malto twins, let's go ahead and talk about our other main duo of Transformers EarthSpark, and that is the two Terrans, Twitch and Thrash, who I'm really excited by. I absolutely love their characters, and starting off with Twitch, who I assume is probably going to be arguably the main character of Transformers EarthSpark. I'm really excited by her bio. Twitch is a Terran, one of the first Earthborn Transformer bots and a driven competitor. Like her brother Thrash, she was born out of cave water. She's a keen observer of everything around her. While she's bonded to both Mo and Robbie, she and Robbie are two peas in a pod. Her high-octane brain is always working as she analyzes situations and sorts out plans of action, positioning her to become a leader within her sibling group. When her drive for victory combines with her palpable confidence, Twitch's attitude can be misinterpreted as arrogant or pushy. She always means well, though it's not her fault. She's a high achiever who wants to be the best. Twitch's alt mode is a flying drone. So of course we saw this back in several other trailers that have been released over the past few months with EarthSpark, that Twitch's alt mode is a quadrotor drone. But it's her bio here that makes me really interested, because I thought she was going to be more in sync with a Mo over Robbie, but the fact that like she's essentially Robbie's like twin, for lack of better terms, that's going to be interesting to see. So that Thrash has Mo and Twitch has Robbie. It's going to be cool to see like how they interact with each other, because if Twitch is more of the I figured Twitch was gonna be very like laid back compared, or like not easygoing, more I guess calm and collected compared to Thrash. But considering that she and Thrash sort of like both are immature to a degree, it's gonna be interesting to see how she bounces off of Robbie, who's very similar to her. And even though and that makes me more excited also for Twitch and from Thrash and Mo, who arguably I think Mo is going to be the more mature one in their little duo unit. So let's go ahead and talk about Thrash's bio, who I really like as well. Thrash is a Terran, one of the first Earthborn Transformers bots, and a cheeky wild child. He's a bringer of fun and good times with a happy-go-lucky attitude. While he's bonded to both Mo and Robbie, he and Mo are partners in crime. He doesn't mind a little mud on his wheels because he couldn't care less about what others think of him. Pure impulse, he's a good-hearted rebel and questions all the rules restricting his everyday life. You can rely on Thrash to be the first one in battle and the first one to make a joke. Thrash isn't rude, he's just testing every limit. Thrash's alt mode is a motorcycle with a sidecar. So yeah, so Thrash to me, he really gives off big Robots in the Skies 2015 Sideswipe vibes and Prime Smokescreen vibes. That cocky little smart ass, for lack of better terms, that just thinks he knows better than everyone else, and that he's just gonna try and like push everyone else's buttons so that he can have more fun. And I really do like Thrash's character too. I think Zeno Robinson's gonna do a great job of bringing him to life, and I'm super excited to actually get to see more of them, because for all you who don't know, Transformers EarthSpark will actually be hosting a panel at New York Comic Con this year in just a few short weeks, where we'll be getting brand new footage from the show, and as well as being cast interviews with several of the cast members. Specifically, we'll be seeing Sidney Michaela, the voice of Robbie, Zion Broadnax, the voice of Mo, Dietrich Bader, the voice of Mandroid, and one I'm really excited for, Sissy Jones, the voice of Alita 1. I'm really excited to see Sissy Jones, specifically because, of course, big fan of her role as Katja in the Walking Dead Telltale series, and considering I've already gotten to meet several other Telltale actors in the past, such as Melissa Hutchinson and Gavin Hammond at New York Comic Con 2014, then I got to meet Nikki Rapp, the voice of Lily, at New York Comic Con 2017. It's gonna be great to see Sissy Jones and just fan out over them at all, and it's just really cool to see. Alright, so the next bio we're looking at is none other than Optimus, which arguably, in my mind, is one of the most interesting, because it's not so more the fact that Optimus is an interesting character, but his bio reveals a lot about the world of EarthSpark, and I'm really excited for it. So let's go ahead and read it together. Optimus Prime is a legend among the Autobots and Decepticons. The charismatic leader of the Autobots, complete with the ability to speak magnitudes with a raised brow. Optimus Prime is a courageous Autobot leader who has forged a new alliance with humans. The birth of the Tyrant has given him a renewed hope in the future. He's partnered up with the underground organization Ghost to help round out dangerous Decepticons and make Earth a safer place for all. Optimus Prime has put 100% of his trust in the organization, but does that trust go both ways? This is absolutely huge for the story of EarthSpark. So originally, back in my very first trailer, I believed that the human organization that Optimus was working with, and to a lesser extent all the Autobots are working with, was Mars X. But no, apparently it's some organization called Ghost. And what they're doing is essentially rounding up any Decepticons that are still causing trouble on Earth. Now, what I wonder is, are these Decepticons that are causing trouble doing all these bad things on Megatron's orders, or are they doing it for other reasons? I have no idea, but it's going to be really, really cool to see the implications for this going forward. Now we're going to cover Elita 1's bio on the EarthSpark webpage. I want to cover Bumblebee's as well, but unfortunately it seems as though Bumblebee's bio on the EarthSpark page is actually broken. When you click on Bumblebee's little profile pic on the website, it just shows his picture with a blank bio, and I assume this is probably just some sort of glitch with the website, unfortunately, that we just don't have it. I've tried digging into the metadata for the website, and there's just unfortunately just nothing in there, so I guess just Nickelodeon forgot to include Bumblebee's bio, so unfortunately we don't have anything to talk about with him. So we're just going to go ahead and move on to Elita 1 instead, which doesn't have anything groundbreaking like Optimus's bio, but it does give us a bit more insight into her character that we didn't get from a Den of Geek bio. So here we go. Elita 1 makes being tough look easy. She's a physically gifted, confident second in command of the Autobots. Elita 1 is fair and never overbearing to the team. She listens to everyone and is a bot the Tyrants look up to. She excels at coming up with clever plans to catch cons, but Elita 1 doesn't mind if things go sideways. Plus, she gets to improvise. She's a hard bot to keep up with in the field. So, yeah, the way this pretty much just reaffirms what we saw back at in the original Den of Geek article that confirmed that Elita 1 is going to be the second in command of the Autobots, instead unlike other continuities where it's usually either Bumblebee or maybe Ratchet in Prime. The fact that it's Elita and that she's going to be a main character in this continuity is really, really cool to see, especially considering she hasn't been a main character really in a Transformers cartoon in almost 15 years. I know she was pretty important in the War for Cybertron cartoon series on Netflix, but that doesn't really count, since the last time she really was important in a Transformers cartoon was all the way back in animated 15 years ago, so it's cool to see her get the spotlight in another show like this again. Now, we're going to be skipping Megatron and Alex's bios, because they pretty much have the exact same stuff that was told in the original Den of Geek article, but what we are going to be talking about now is Dot's bio, which does give a little bit more backstory to her involvement in the Autobot Decepticon war that we talked about in the original summary of EarthSpark, and also just gives more about her bio and perhaps maybe history of Optimus, which is going to be really interesting to see. Let's go ahead and read this. Dot, aka Dorothy Malto, is Robbie and Moe's mother, surrogate mother to the Terrans, and wife to Alex Malto. She's also Wibwiki's newest park ranger, or so she thought. She's a loving mother and ex-soldier, so she can flip that switch when necessary. She's very humble about her heroic background and never acts like she's above anyone. Unconditional love is Dot's superpower and extends to just about everyone in her life, including all the animals and bots under her protection. Optimus Prime is the only person who experiences the cooler side of Dot's warm personality. That is really, really interesting to me. The fact that it seems as though Optimus and Dot have some sort of history together, especially considering she was a former soldier in this war. That's gonna be really interesting to see how, maybe we'll see flashbacks or just conversations throughout the show between her and Optimus that will flesh out their relationship. It's going to be interesting to see what exactly their history is together as the show goes on. And last but certainly not least, that leads us to our main antagonist for presumably Season 1 of EarthSpark at least, and that is Mandroid. So Mandroid's bio gives us a little bit more backstory as to why exactly his motivations are for wanting all Cybertronian life wiped out, and it's pretty interesting, so let's go ahead and read that for us a little bit together. Mandroid, aka Dr. Meridian, was a scientist soldier in the war, but the fighting left him injured, jaded, and ultimately very anti-Cybertronian. With this new ideology, he believes Earth and its humans deserve a protector, and surmises the annihilation of all Cybertronians is the best for the planet. However, in order to eliminate all Cybertronian life, he believes he needs to become more like them, a decision which takes a great physical and mental toll. Mandroid's a twisted villain, though he does have a sense of humor. I just love that little last sentence that just seems like, oh, like he's a funny guy. So the fact that he wants to genocide all Cybertronians, that's not a big deal. I just absolutely love that. But the interesting thing here is that they mentioned the war. They don't say, oh, he was like soldier in like just some human war, just the war. So is this implied that Mandroid was in the Autobot Decepticon war? He got injured and maybe lost his arm in the process, and that's what led him to become anti-Cybertronian. And then maybe using some tech left over from the war, he built himself that new prosthetic arm and used that to control the arachnomechs that he uses throughout the entirety of EarthSpark. And it's going to be interesting to see what his ideology is throughout the entirety of Season 1 of EarthSpark. And I hope that we get a second season so we can see hopefully more of his character grow. Hopefully he doesn't maybe just like, if they decide to do like a twist reveal or maybe Megatron ends up becoming the main antagonist at the end of the season. I really hope it doesn't end in like Mandroid dying. Maybe like you can just send him off to prison and then maybe he becomes an ally in Season 2, who knows. But I'm interested to see like what Mandroid will bring to EarthSpark. Alright, now with all the bios out of the way, we can go ahead and talk now about the brief like 40-second trailer that came out yesterday about Transformers EarthSpark, showing off basically a bunch of characters that are going to be appearing in the show as well as their alt modes. Now, for the most part of this trailer, we don't really see anything brand new. The brand new stuff comes towards the end of this trailer. For the first like 15 seconds of the trailer, we basically get to see clips of characters we've already come and seen, like Optimus and his alt mode as a truck, we have Twitch as a drone, Thrash as a motorcycle, and so on. The real interesting thing here comes out after Bumblebee here, where we get to see, first off, Wheeljack, and we see his proper alt mode for the first time, even though we've known that Wheeljack was going to be in the show for a while now, since the original trailer came out back at San Diego Comic-Con, and we knew his design for the most part. We get a better idea of Wheeljack's personality and how it's going to be like. So, like pretty much every other Wheeljack in Transformers history, EarthSpark Wheeljack will also transform into a sort of rally car. We also get a brief look at his face before he transforms in this trailer, and you can see he actually has like a proper beard and all that, very similar to Cyberverse Wheeljack. He even also has a southern accent like Cyberverse Wheeljack. So it seems as though with EarthSpark, they're really trying to drive in the fact that Wheeljack's going to be basically like the mad scientist of the Autobots, just like he was in Cyberverse in G1, which of course is sort of just par for the course really with all Wheeljacks really in the Transformers franchise, with the exception of like Prime Wheeljack. So it's cool to see that EarthSpark Wheeljack's going to be keeping that up and also incorporating elements of Cyberverse Wheeljack, which is stuff we've never seen before. Personally, my favorite Wheeljack is Prime Wheeljack, and just how much of a departure he was from the other versions of him. But I am curious to see how EarthSpark Wheeljack is going to act, and what will differentiate him from Cyberverse Wheeljack. Because right now, especially with the southern accent and the beards that both EarthSpark and Cyberverse Wheeljacks have, it's going to be interesting. I really hope that EarthSpark does something to separate its version of Wheeljack from Cyberverse's Wheeljack. I'm interested, but I'm kind of worried that they won't do that and they'll just copy and paste Cyberverse Wheeljack. After Wheeljack, we get a little brief pic of Alita 1, and we've seen this before. We knew this whole time that Alita 1 was going to turn into like this 4x4 Hummer-like vehicle, similar to Bulkhead and Prime and Animated. But the really interesting thing comes, though, right after Alita, where we get confirmation that Arcee is going to be a Autobot in EarthSpark. And I did not expect Arcee to be a character that was going to show up in this show after Alita 1 is. But Arcee's design in EarthSpark, it's very blink and you'll miss it before she transforms here. But her design is very, very similar to like the traditional Arcee with the pink and white armor, as opposed to the vast departure that Prime Arcee was with her blue and pink armor. And I absolutely love Arcee's design here, and the fact that she actually transforms into an old school like hot rod style muscle car, which is something we've never seen any version of Arcee before. Normally, most versions of Arcee transform into some sort of Cybertronian car like G1 and Cyberverse Arcee, or she turns into a motorcycle like Prime or Bayverse Arcee. The fact that EarthSpark Arcee is going to transform into this old school like 50s hot rod car, I think that's such a cool concept to turn Arcee into, and it's really going to be cool to see what exactly Arcee's going to bring to the table. Is she going to be more immature than Alita to sort of differentiate her from Alita, or is she going to act like very similar to Alita? Do they have a good relationship together? I don't know, but it's really interesting to see what exactly Arcee is going to be like in EarthSpark. Now, the next two characters we're about to see are characters we've seen in brief clips back in the original San Diego Comic-Con trailer, and we weren't even sure if these were these characters, but now, thanks to this trailer giving official names for every character, we know that these names are official now. So first up is Skullcruncher. Now, Skullcruncher is presumably going to be some sort of Decepticon that turns into this big alligator crocodile bot, or Croctobot as the trailer puts it. Now, Skullcruncher is a minor character from the G1 cartoon, but you may recognize him actually more so from Cyberverse, where he was McAdam's pet crocodile robot that we saw all the way back in Season 3 of Cyberverse, when Hot Rod, Soundwave, and everyone went into, I already forget the Titan's name already, Iaconus, when they go into Iaconus's body, and they come into contact with Skullcruncher, and he rips off Perceptor's arm. That's what EarthSpark Skullcruncher seems to be based off of. We don't really get to see any idea of what Skullcruncher's like deal is going to be like in EarthSpark. I assume it's just going to be a generic Decepticon grunt, but it'll be interesting to see how he functions in this show. After him, though, is Swindle, who is a character who we were pretty sure was Swindle from the earlier trailer, but this confirms that officially is Swindle, and he turned into like a big SUV type vehicle, very similar again to Prime Bulkhead and Alita 1. It's interesting considering every scene we've seen of Swindle, it's been of him battling Thrash and Mo. We saw this in a very, very brief trailer that came out a few weeks ago of him actually being the one to attack Mo and Thrash in the junkyard that we saw in the very first trailer where Mo transforms Thrash's sidecar into a shield to protect her and Thrash, I mean. And it seems that be continuing here, where we see Swindle corner Thrash and Mo, with Mo riding in Thrash's sidecar on this cliff, and Swindle transforms to corner them both. And I absolutely love Swindle's design here. It's such a departure from animated Swindle and IDW Swindle. I'm interested to see what exactly Swindle's role is going to be. I really hope he's not just like some generic Decepticon thug that doesn't really have a character. I really hope he actually is like a minor villain in EarthSpark, to see if maybe he's a rogue Decepticon that's going to try to not strike out on his own and see if he can make it himself without Megatron or any other Decepticons. Maybe he's working together with Skullcruncher, who knows, but I'm really interested to see what Swindle is. And there's a rumor, like from the very brief voice clip that Swindle has, is that he's actually voiced by Nolan North, who you may recognize who previously voiced Smokescreen in Transformers Prime. I could see that it's Nolan North's voice Swindle, but I don't want to say it is or isn't just because it's too early to tell. I'll wait and see until November 11th when EarthSpark premieres to see if Nolan North does voice Swindle. But if it does, I'd be happy to have him because, again, I loved him as Smokescreen in Transformers Prime. So even if he comes back voicing a minor character like Swindle, I'll be happy for that. Now we get on to the big part of the show that everyone online is freaking out over. And that is, of course, confirmation that Soundwave will be appearing in Transformers EarthSpark. And oh my god, I gotta say it, EarthSpark Soundwave is probably, without a doubt, the best Soundwave design I've seen in any Transformers show. Even better than Prime Soundwave. EarthSpark Soundwave's design is absolutely amazing. I love the dark blue aspect, and especially the head design. He looks almost like a bat, which is really fitting considering Soundwave's abilities to produce, well, sound waves. And I just love his design. And his all-mode is that he turns into like a stealth bomber slash UAV. It's different though from Prime Soundwave, who turned into like a regular UAV drone. EarthSpark Soundwave actually turns into more of like an advanced UAV, or more of a stealth bomber. And I absolutely love this design for Soundwave, and it's just something that I think of course, why wouldn't you make the recon specialist for the Decepticons like an advanced UAV slash stealth bomber? It makes so much sense, and I absolutely love the animal motif that Soundwave's bot form resembles a bat. I absolutely love that design, and really everyone on Twitter has unanimously agreed that EarthSpark Soundwave's design is legit one of the best Soundwaves ever made, and I can't agree more. I absolutely love Soundwave's design in this. I can't wait to see what his role is going to be in EarthSpark. Oh, it's so good. Unfortunately, though, the last clip doesn't really show us anything new. It's just another clip of Megatron landing on the bridge with Optimus, Alita, and Dot that we saw back in the San Diego Comic-Con trailer. But we do get to hear a little bit of a snippet of Rory McCann as Megatron, though it's very, very minor. He literally says like 3 or 4 words, so it's hard to get a gauge of how exactly he's going to really sound as Megatron. And I don't know, it just sounds weird, so I can't really like say if it's going to be good or bad, but I want to like see and wait until EarthSpark comes out, or we get just more substantial dialogue from Rory McCann as Megatron to see how he's going to sound as him. And I'm really interested to see just how he connects with all the other Decepticons. Like, is he ordering Swindle and Skullcruncher to do all these hijinks with Twitch and Thrash, or Swindle and Skullcruncher maybe just rogue Decepticons, and Megatron's working with Optimus, Dot, and Alita to just round them up and try like to keep the peace between Autobots and Decepticons? I don't know, and the fact that we don't know is really cool. I'm excited to learn. Okay, and that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Everything to Know About Transformers EarthSpark. As I said before, we will be getting Transformers EarthSpark, the first 10 episodes of Season 1, on November 11th, exclusively on Paramount Plus, and then later on down the line for the rest of the world on Nickelodeon. So we've got a bunch of stuff. We got new characters from Swindle, Bone Cruncher, and Soundwave. We've got new bios for everyone. I am absolutely so psyched for EarthSpark, and you can definitely be sure I'll be making another video in just a few weeks when I go to see the Transformers EarthSpark panel at New York Comic Con, where I get to meet Cindy Michaela and Zion Broadnax, the voices of Robbie and Mo, Dietrich Bader, the voice of Mandroid, and Sissy Jones, the voice of Alita 1. I am just so excited for EarthSpark, and I hope you guys all are too. If you are, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later.